now officially Andrew Cuomo, who has decided to get himself back in the race. I have my theory as to why he decided to get back in, despite people saying that, he put his name on the ballot line, was automatically going to run. I do believe that the reason that he's doing it is because Adams is perhaps not as competitive as people thought that he would be. And as a result, they're desperate to make sure that Mamdani doesn't win. So my guess is that he's in the race now because they think that there's a better chance that if they throw the money behind Cuomo, that in a general election, he'd hold more weight and would have a better chance at beating Mamdani. Your thoughts on that?
That or just the fact that it's better to have two against one. They're sort of playing either or. They know that Adams is not going to get out of it. He's the sitting mayor. So they know that he's stuck there. Right. So the only chance and they know that he cannot obviously do that. His numbers are not good enough. So they have to do something to at least take away some more votes in their ranked choice system and do some sort of thing. But I don't know. I don't think it will work.
Well, I think he's definitely a narcissist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true. But it's not just him that's making that choice. I think it's a bigger picture than that.
Now, if you guys saw the clip we put out earlier today, obviously we are not here to just, wipe the behind of Zohran. If he makes a mistake, he's going to get called out on it. And by hiring a top-level DNC consultant, that is not a move that is going to endear yourself to the network, the base of people that you've cultivated very effectively. In fact, it might turn people off. And one of those people happens to be a former Cuomo staffer. Now that Cuomo's in the race, I mean, listen, I don't want to speculate as to why somebody would do so.
Well, we covered this, and guys, we have a good clip that dropped today that I think is just this, that is this exact topic. There's a myriad of reasons as to why this potentially happened, but we'll call it when we see it.
We'll see what Zohran has to say about this.
Welcome everyone to this race, and I am as confident as I've been since 3 weeks ago on primary night, when we faced Andrew Cuomo then and won that race by more than 12 points, with the most votes of any Democratic nominee in New York City primary history. And we did so because of the fact that while Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams trip over themselves to make deals in back rooms with billionaires, we are focused on fighting for working New Yorkers.
Now, even if this is just campaign rhetoric, it's still very effective campaign rhetoric. And at a time where people are so disillusioned with the system, you would think that this is going to resonate with people that may, under, perhaps normal, stable circumstances, wouldn't vote for him, but are probably going to give him a shot, considering all things that are going on right now.
Yeah, I think that, and I think first of all, it's cool that he's hanging out with the American Federation of Musicians, because that's just cool that he has a band behind him. I really liked it when we had the band in front of us that time. Remember that?
Yeah,
it sort of made me feel like I should be preceded by a band every time I walk into a room. But I think that it's like, for all we know, Lerner has he's trying to get back at Cuomo, and maybe he is trying to help beat him because he was just, who knows? But it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are simply opportunistic people out there in politics. And one of the problems with opportunism is that a lot of these guys, listen, we know people like that. We know loyalty for hire. We know those types.
Well, no, he might have a reason. He could be in there on behalf of Cuomo or the establishment, or he could be in there because he wants some sort of like payback and he's disgruntled, or it could be, it just doesn't matter to him either way. And he's just there to make a buck. Whatever it is, it's just something to be aware of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, you can't weed out everybody, but you obviously have to make sure that you're not getting eaten alive from the inside, which is always one of the big mistakes that we see with a lot of these political campaigns. We had to deal with a situation like that where a person was brought on that we thought was on the level, and it turns out that they weren't. And,
Oh, it happens.
yeah. So again, it's tough love. It's constructive criticism, nothing more.
Yeah.
I think he's struggling to come to terms with what Tuesday meant. We spent an entire campaign being told that it was inevitable for Andrew Cuomo to become the next mayor. And he believed that himself. And what we saw was New Yorkers' hunger for a new kind of politics. A politics focused on working people. A politics where far more New Yorkers than before could see themselves in it, in those same policies. And I understand that it is difficult for the former governor to come to terms with that, because it is a repudiation of the politics that he has practiced, that he has known for so many years. And it is that same politics that we are turning the page on.
And that is a great point.
And then it was great. He does a very good job of always coming back to topics, staying on point, not ever lowering himself to respond to any of the ridiculous criticisms about him. And he really just doesn't get in the mud with them. And it's really nice to watch, but he's very good about bringing it back to the topics that matter most to people. And I appreciate that. And not in a Bernie distracting us from genocide, talking about healthcare kind of way, but in a person saying we need to stay focused on the issues, not ridiculous partisan hackery.
Yeah, and I think also there is that generational gap. I do think that there is a limit to what Bernie is really able to do at his advanced age, and where his understanding of everyday people are at, even though I think his message is still pretty sharp for the most part, with obvious, shortcomings. But with that being said, Zohran represents a real generational change in many ways. You forget that Cuomo, I want to say Cuomo is 67 or something like that, or 68 maybe. He's not old, but he's not new.
He's old enough to be Zoran's parent.
Yes.
So it is a generational change. Like, it's a difference of at least a generation.
But again, we're not comparing, apples and oranges here. We're comparing a type of politic that does not involve wholesale corruption, which is what Cuomo represents. I mean, he is a mafia boss in just a different, stripe.
In what way is it different?
Well, what I'm saying is that he's really no different than John Gotti. He's Gotti in a different light. Like, Gotti was a street boss, and Cuomo just happens to wear a suit and a tie or a briefcase.
Cuomo was raised in thug politics. Cuomo was born into basically a political dynasty.
Yeah.
Well, that's its own sort of thug life. That's its own sort of, you're raised to see how things work in a different sort of way.
Well, you're also talking about somebody who never had to fight for it. It was that's part of the privilege and the entitlement. But in terms of seeing things that you would compare to organized crime, he grew up in a New York political family dynasty situation. Like, that doesn't exist outside of some sort of dealings. It just doesn't. It just doesn't seem likely. Now, as much as we think that making those decisions pertaining to staffers can create a hindrance on the campaign overall, there is no question that the establishment is not going to cave. Even though there was an event recently that Zohran was at, that Richie Torres was also at. Richie Torres is not getting on TV telling people to go out and vote for Zohran because he's great. Again, will there be a reckoning of sorts if Zohran does become the mayor for a lot of these guys? Yeah, probably. And maybe they'll get in line and maybe they won't. Maybe they are subject to being excommunicated from politics. We'll see.
No, people like Richie Torres will bend down and kiss the ring, because at the end of the day, a whore's going to whore. And so now if you have somebody that is now the mayor of New York, and that's your district, you'll do what you need to do.
Yeah, I think so. But I also think that he has burned so many bridges that he would be a sitting duck and that he would probably get primaried. I'm not saying
That's either, regardless of whether he kisses the ring or not, that would happen. That's my, like, it doesn't matter at this point. But if he needs, he's somebody that he likes to have upper management and get financial reward. And when you're one of those type of people, you're going to play whatever game you need to play to maintain your position.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why the leader, quote unquote, of the Democratic Party in New York is still saying this.
Meeting with Zohran Mamdani, you have not endorsed him yet. What do you say to people who say, why are you not endorsing the guy that won the Democratic primary in a contested election in your backyard?
Well, I look forward to sitting down and talking to him. I didn't get involved in that primary election, and I don't know him well. We had a very good conversation the day after the primary. We agreed to meet, and so I'm looking forward to having that discussion on Friday.
I mean, I think it's funny to be honest.
Is this new or we've seen this?
Oh, this is new. This
is the second time he's basically said the same thing then. Which is I don't really know him.
And again, yes, but this is the thing. There is this idea that you could just be forgiven for all of your transgressions, especially if you are a corporate whore, if you will, in politics. And I'm sorry, but I'm just not buying that. I don't think it's acceptable behavior. And I think once you have sold out, you have sold out.
What's not wait. What's not acceptable? Which part of this is not acceptable?
That somebody like Richie Torres is going to be allowed to turn a corner. That he's going to be allowed to, oh yeah, everything's fine now, and Zohran's great, and we're just going to do no. When you're a corporate whore, you're a corporate whore. That's not changing. You have succumbed to that pressure. You will never be able to just go out there and raise capital from everyday people at $30 a pop and get thousands upon thousands of people.
They never could. He never could. That's why they're corporate whores. And this guy is a liar. He's just sitting here lying. There is no universe wherein, given Zohran Mamdani's position as a sitting assemblyman in the region in which Hakeem Jeffries' district is, and this is a sitting congressman and a sitting state assemblyman that cross over, there's no universe wherein he's not aware of him.